Hello, hello. What's up, fight fans? Welcome to the very first episode of Between the Rounds. I'm your host, Sarah Cunningham, and if you're here, it means that you love boxing just as much as I do. Now, this is a pilot. I'm testing the format, seeing what works, and honestly, I want to hear from you. So feel free to drop me comments and feedback. Let me know what you think. And if this resonates, listen, we'll keep going. We'll make tweaks along the way. But today I'm here and I'm going to break down what could be one of the biggest nights in women's boxing history. That's right. April 5th, 2026, just got announced last week, the Olympia London, where we're going to see 4 world title fights, an all-female stacked card. Yes, it is Jake Paul's most valuable promotions making their international debut. I've been skeptical of MVP's strategy. They signed this huge roster of female talent last year, made all the right headlines about supporting women's boxing, and then where have all these high-profile fighters been? We haven't seen much. And we haven't seen much activity from most of them since the Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano trilogy. And a lot of these women took quite a substantial risk signing with MVP. And now what? They've just been sitting idle, fighting maybe twice a year, if they're lucky. But listen, I'm parking those thoughts for another conversation. And trust me, I will have that conversation and go head to head with whoever's on the receiving end of my thoughts. Because the reality is, when we actually look at the boxing promotion industry at large, MVP is about the only major promotional company investing real money in women's boxing. And I guess my thoughts are, I just really hope that they have the right infrastructure in place to deliver on what they've promised these women long term. But today, I'm breaking down the card itself. I'm going to focus in on a few specific confirmed fights. And over the course of the upcoming episodes, of course, if you like what you see, I'm going to bring in some professional boxing coaches, fighters, analysts, people who generally know this sport inside out and have some good conversations with them. Okay, so let's talk about the main event. We have Caroline Dubois versus Terri Harper. With these two women, we have youth versus experience. We have Olympic pedigree versus a battle-tested warrior. And what's really interesting is whoever wins this one will fight Alycia Baumgardner for the Undisputed. So this isn't just a unification, it's an eliminator for the biggest fight in the division. And actually, let's not forget that this would actually mean a rematch for Harper, because back in November of 2021, you might remember when Baumgardner knocked Terri Harper out on her feet. Now, Harper never hit the canvas, but she was out cold. And thankfully, the ref that night did an absolutely fabulous job of jumping in at the right time, right when Alycia Baumgardner was going for that second phase attack. Did you guys catch the press event last week? Because it was absolutely electric. You had Dubois on one hand, who was cool and confident, talking about her levels and showed up in a beautiful outfit. And then you had Harper fired up, reminding everyone who she had been in the ring with and who she's been tested by, and almost questioning who Dubois has actually shared the ring with yet. So it's going to be exciting. The girls really hyped up the potential of what Fight Night will bring. So let's break down both fighters, right? Because they each bring interesting things to the table. So we've Caroline Dubois. Now, she is special in my mind. She was a 2020 Olympian for Team GB. She brings elite amateur pedigree experience with her. She is a southpaw with pristine fundamentals, from her footwork, her distance control, her ring IQ. It's far beyond her years. And she made a real statement in her US debut that she made in December in Miami, and it was against Camila Panada. And let me tell you, Dubois showed us what an Olympic pedigree talent can do. That southpaw jab, it is one of the best punches I've seen in all of women's boxing. And she even managed to drop Panada in round 7 with a massive counter left backhand. And here's the scary part. In a post-fight interview, Dubois gave herself a B- after that performance. And so if that's what she considers to be B-level work, this division should be absolutely terrified of what Dubois can do. So her game plan, I reckon, will be she'll box at range, she'll use that jab, she'll circle out when Harper puts pressure on her, and she'll make Harper chase her for 10 rounds straight. And then there's Terri Harper. She's the first British woman to win titles in 3 weight classes, and she's been in wars with the best. So we obviously had her loss in November of 2021 against Baumgardner, and then in March of 2024, Sandy Ryan beat her when she had moved up to the welterweight division. Now, her corner actually threw in the towel that time because I think they just felt like she was getting unnecessary punishment. It was just overall felt that Terri was rushed up into that weight class way too soon. There were fights where Harper has showed a lot of heart, right? In August of 2020, she faced Natasha Jonas, and that was a split draw, and it was an all-out war. And then in October of 2023, she faced Cecilia Breakhouse. Again, a majority draw. And most people actually felt that Terri had won that fight. So what does Harper bring to the fight against Dubois? Listen, she's going to bring pressure. She knows how to walk you down. She knows how to get on the inside, and she can make it ugly. And the experience, right? She's been in there with elite fighters, and she's veteran savvy. She knows how to make fights uncomfortable. So I think the game plan that they will bring for this is she'll get inside. She'll really try to work inside of Dubois' jab. She'll try not to stay on the outside of it. She'll try to smother Dubois' work where she can. And I think she will try and drag her into deep waters and make it a war at times. Now, I think that's where Terri has to be really, really careful, because Dubois carries a lot of power. I've seen her, and she can be dangerous with that power. So again, it'll be interesting to see how Terri weathers that storm from time to time. So the question remains, can Harper's experience and pressure overcome Dubois' superior technical skills? I genuinely think Dubois is levels above Harper. The footwork, the angles, the jab. She's a far more skillful fighter. But Harper represents the one thing that Dubois hasn't faced, and that is sustained, relentless pressure from a fighter who's been in championship fights and knows how to make things uncomfortable. So my prediction, Dubois by unanimous decision. And I think it will be wide on the scorecards. Okay, so I'm going to quickly touch on the rest of the card. We've got the co-main event. We've got Ellie Scottney versus Maëlle Flores for the undisputed super bantamweight. Now, if Scottney wins this, it means she becomes the youngest British boxer, male or female, to become the undisputed in the four-belt era. Now, Scottney is a technician, and I absolutely love how they're developing her through the pro ranks. But Flores is a Mexican warrior. Now, I will say, interestingly enough, Flores' only loss was to Mercado, who Scottney actually beat her masterfully in her US debut in July for the Katie Taylor-Amanda Serrano undercard. It was a pretty one-sided fight. So if that's giving us anything, I expect Scottney to handle this by staying disciplined, using her volume and winning clearly. However, I have seen Scottney stand toe-to-toe with opponents and go all in on a war. If our Mexican can bring that out in her, it could make it a really interesting fight in moments, right? I think there'll be moments of some fireworks there. Okay, moving on then, we have Chantel Cameron versus Michaela Kostakova, and that's for the vacated WBO super welterweight title. Now, Cameron is the only woman to have ever beaten Katie Taylor in the pros. That happened in May of 2023 in Dublin. It was a majority decision. But then came the rematch in November of 2023, that same year. Cameron fought her absolute heart out. And while some people think she won, in my mind, and I know you're all saying, well, you're a huge Katie Taylor fan, I truly believe Katie Taylor did what she needed to do to take home that win, and she deserved that win. However, Chantel Cameron came away absolutely devastated and took the loss really badly, to a point where she moved away from her coach, and she took a bit of a break. She did sign with MVP Promotion during that time. She had one fight in July as an undercard for the Katie Taylor-Amanda Serrano fight. And then she disappeared for a bit, right? But now she's back with Jamie Moore, her original trainer, and she's moved back up to 154. So this is a real get-right fight. And then when we look at Kostakova's record, she's 11-0, but she's pretty untested. My prediction on this one will be Cameron will win by decision, and on paper should be easy to claim that title in a second weight class. And I'm excited for Cameron to make her comeback, because she's deserving of this, and I think she recognizes that she took that loss pretty badly and she's moved on from it. Okay, so April 5th is shaping up to be a big night for women's boxing, and I'm here for it. So if you liked what you see, let me know, right? Like I mentioned, this is a pilot. I'm testing the format, the vibe, the whole thing, and your feedback matters to me. So comment below, subscribe if you want to hear more, and tell me, should I keep going with Between the Rounds? All right, and that's it from me. So we'll see you on the next episode, hopefully.